The alien ship floated in the dark space above Earth. It was big and silver, with lights that blinked slowly. Inside the ship, Dr. Vexstar looked at his screens. He was tall and thin, with blue skin and forearms. His large black eyes studied the data from the planet below. "Look at this," he said to his helper, Creelin. "These humans are so weak. They cannot even survive in cold water for more than a few minutes." Creelin nodded. She was smaller than Dr. Vexstar, with the same blue skin, but only 2 arms. "Yes, doctor. They have no claws, no thick fur, no poison. How did they survive this long?" Dr. Vexstar made notes on his computer. "They are lucky, I think. No real predators hunt them anymore. They live in boxes made of stone and metal. Very safe, but it makes them soft." The 2 aliens had been watching Earth for many months. They studied humans like scientists study bugs. They wrote down everything they saw. How humans ate, how they slept, how they died. To them, humans were just another animal to learn about. "Sir," said another alien from across the room. This one was young, named Zilmuth. "I am getting readings from the ocean. There is a storm coming." Dr. Vexstar looked at his screen. "Good. Storms show us how species react to danger. Watch the humans in the water. They will probably die quickly." Far below, on the cold Pacific Ocean, Jake Murphy stood on the deck of his research boat. He was 35 years old, with brown hair and strong arms from years of working on boats. The wind was getting stronger, and the waves were getting bigger. "Lisa, we need to head back," Jake called to his partner. Lisa Adams was a smart woman with red hair. She studied ocean animals like Jake did. "This storm is getting bad." Lisa looked up from her computer. "Just 5 more minutes, Jake. I am getting good data on the whales." Ryan Clark, their equipment man, walked over to them. He was young and nervous. "Jake, the engine is making weird sounds. I think something is wrong." Jake frowned. He had been a soldier before he became a scientist. He knew when to worry. "Ryan, check the engine now. Lisa, pack up your stuff. We are leaving." The alien ship watched from above. Dr. Vexstar saw the small human boat in the big ocean. "This will be interesting," he said. 3 humans, 1 small boat, and a big storm. They will not survive. The storm hit fast and hard. Rain poured down like bullets. The wind screamed across the water. Waves as tall as houses crashed over the little boat. Jake fought to control the wheel, but the boat was too small, and the storm was too strong. "The engine is dead." Ryan shouted over the noise. "We have no power." Lisa held on tight as the boat was thrown up and down by the waves. "Jake, what do?" "We do?" Jake looked around. He saw rocks ahead. Sharp, black rocks that would break their boat into pieces. "Hold on," he yelled. "We are going to crash." The boat hit the rocks with a loud crack. Wood broke apart. Water rushed in. Jake grabbed Lisa's hand. "Jump! Jump now!" All 3 humans jumped into the cold, angry water. The ocean was like ice. It was hard to breathe, hard to swim. Jake saw Lisa go under the water. He dove down and pulled her back up. "Ryan!" Jake called out. "Where is Ryan?" "Here." Ryan's voice came from behind a big rock. He was hurt, but he was alive. The 3 humans swam toward the shore. It was hard work. The waves kept pushing them back. But Jake kept them together. He had been in bad situations before. He knew how to survive. On the alien ship, Dr. Vexstar watched with interest. They made it to the island. Surprising. But they will die soon. Look at them. They are cold, wet, and have no tools. The island was rocky and covered with thick trees. Jake pulled Lisa and Ryan up onto the beach. They were all shaking from the cold. Their clothes were torn. Most of their equipment was lost in the water. We need shelter, Jake said, and fire. We will die if we stay cold and wet. Lisa looked around. This place looks wild. No people live here. Ryan pointed to marks on a tree, deep scratches in the bark. Something big made those marks. Jake studied the scratches. They were high up on the tree, very high, bare claws. He said quietly, "Big bare claws." Dr. Vexstar turned to his team. "Perfect. The island has apex predators. The humans will be dead by morning." But Jake was not thinking about dying. He was thinking about living. He found some dry wood under a big rock. He still had a small lighter in his pocket. Soon he had a fire going. "Good job," Lisa said, moving closer to the fire. "But what about food and water?" "One thing at a time," Jake said. He looked around the island. It was getting dark. "First we survive the night. Then we worry about tomorrow." The aliens watched from their ship. They did not understand that humans were different when they were in danger. They thought Jake and his friends would give up and die. They were wrong. As night fell, Jake made a shelter from tree branches and leaves. He found a small stream with fresh water. He even caught some fish with his bare hands. Lisa and Ryan watched him work. They had never seen Jake like this before. "How do you know how to do all this?" Lisa asked. Jake fed more wood to the fire. "I learned things in the army before I became a scientist. Things you hope you never need to use." High above, Dr. Vexstar made his final notes for the day. The humans built fire and shelter. They found food and water. They might last one more day. But when they meet the island's real predators, they will die like all weak creatures do. The alien doctor was very sure about this. He had studied many species. He knew that soft, civilized creatures always died when they met real predators. He had no idea that some predators hide their true nature until they have no choice but to fight. The sun came up slowly over the island. Jake woke up first, like he always did. He had slept with one eye open, listening for danger. The fire was almost dead. He added more wood and made it strong again. Lisa woke up next. She was sore and cold. "Did you sleep at all?" she asked Jake. "Some," Jake said. But that was not true. He had stayed awake most of the night, watching and listening. Old habits from his army days. Ryan woke up and groaned. His shoulder hurt from the crash. "How long before someone finds us?" he asked. Jake looked at the ocean. No boats, no planes. "Could be days, maybe weeks. We need to make this place work for us." Dr. Vexstar was also awake on his ship. He looked at his screens with surprise. They survived the night. Interesting. But today will be different. Today they will meet the true rulers of this island. Lisa walked around their camp. She was looking for anything useful from their broken boat. Near some rocks, she found something that made her stop. "Jake, come look at this." Jake walked over. In the soft mud were footprints, but not human footprints. These were huge, with long claw marks. Each print was bigger than Jake's whole hand. "Bear tracks," Jake said quietly. "Fresh ones." Ryan came over and looked. His face went white. "How big is this bear?" Jake studied the tracks. He had seen bear signs before, but never this big. Very big, maybe 1,000 pounds, maybe more. On the alien ship, Zilmuth was watching through the ship's cameras. "Doctor, the humans found the predator tracks. They look scared." Dr. Vexstar smiled. "Good. Fear is smart, but fear will not save them." Creolin looked at her readings. "The bear is close. Maybe half a mile away. It is moving toward the humans." "Perfect," Dr. Vexstar said. "Start recording everything. This will be good data on how prey animals act before they die." Jake followed the bear tracks. They led away from the beach into the thick trees, but there were more tracks too. Lots of them, all around their camp. It was here last night, Jake told Lisa and Ryan. While we slept, it was watching us. Lisa hugged herself. Why didn't it attack? Maybe it was not hungry, Jake said. Or maybe it was just curious. But it will be back. Jake found more signs. Scratches on trees, much higher than any human could reach. Piles of bare waste. And something else that made his blood cold. Bones. Lots of bones from different animals. This bear was a killer. We need to move our camp, Jake said. This is the bear's territory. We are in its hunting ground. But as they started to pack up, Ryan pointed to the trees. Look, more scratches, fresh ones. On trees in every direction. The bear had marked its territory in the night. It was telling them that the whole island belonged to it. We cannot run, Jake said. There is nowhere to go. The whole island is its home. Dr. Vextar was very excited. Look at this. The apex. Predator has claimed the entire island. The humans are trapped. They cannot escape. Lisa was scared, but she was also smart. Jake, what do we know about this kind of bear? Kodiak bears, Jake said. The biggest bears in the world. They can run 30 miles per hour. They can climb trees. They can swim. And they are not afraid of anything. What do they eat? Ryan asked. Jake looked at all the bones around the camp. Everything. Fish, seals, deer, and anything else they can catch. The aliens watched as the humans talked. Dr. Vextar was making notes. See how they huddled together? This is typical prey behavior. They know they are going to die, but they do not know what to do about it. But Jake was not acting like prey. He was thinking like a soldier. He studied the land around their camp. He looked for places to hide, places to run, places to fight if he had to. We need weapons, Jake said. Weapons? Lisa asked. Jake, we are scientists, not fighters. Jake picked up a sharp piece of metal from their broken boat. Today we are whatever we need to be to stay alive. The bear smell was getting stronger. It was a wild animal smell that made the hair on their necks stand up. Jake knew that smell. It meant danger was close. It is coming, Jake said quietly. Everyone stay calm. Do not run. Running will make it chase us. Through the trees, they heard something big moving. Branches breaking. Heavy footsteps. The sound was getting closer. Dr. Vextar leaned forward in his chair. Here it comes. The apex predator of the island. Watch how quickly it kills the humans. Creolin was recording everything. The humans are not running. Why are they not running? Because they are too scared to move, Dr. Vextar said. Fear makes prey animals freeze. It is normal. But Jake was not frozen with fear. He was thinking fast. He remembered his training. Never run from a predator unless you can win the race. And no human could outrun a bear. The sound in the trees stopped. Everything was quiet. Too quiet. Where is it? Ryan whispered. Jake held the piece of metal tight in his hand. It is watching us, deciding if we are food or a threat. Lisa pointed to a big tree near their camp. There, I see something. Moving. A huge shape stepped out from behind the tree. It was the biggest bear any of them had ever seen. It stood on its back legs and was taller than a basketball hoop. Its fur was dark brown, almost black. Its teeth were white and sharp. Its claws were like knives. The bear looked at the three humans with small, smart eyes. It was not in a hurry. It knew they could not escape. It was deciding which one to kill first. Dr. Vextar was very excited. Magnificent! Look at the size of that predator. The humans do not stand a chance. Ryan made a small noise of fear. The bear heard it and looked right at him. Ryan tried to step back, but his foot hit a piece of wood. He fell down hard. The sudden movement was like turning on a switch. The bear's eyes went from curious to angry. It dropped down on all four legs and started walking toward them. Each step shook the ground. Jake stepped in front of Lisa and Ryan. He raised the piece of metal in his hand. It looked very small compared to the huge bear. "Jake, what are you doing?" Lisa whispered. Jake did not answer. Something was changing inside him. The scared scientist was going away. The soldier was coming back. His heart was beating fast, but his hands were steady. The bear was 20 feet away, then 10 feet, then 5. On the alien ship, Dr. Vexstar was ready to see the humans die. He had seen this many times before. Weak creatures always died when they met strong ones. It was the way of nature. But Dr. Vexstar did not understand humans. He did not know that sometimes, when humans have no choice, they stop being civilized. Sometimes they remember what they really are. The bear opened its mouth and roared. The sound was so loud it hurt their ears. It was a sound that said, "I am the king here. You are just food." Jake heard the roar. He felt the bear's hot breath. He smelled its wild smell. And something deep inside him woke up. Something that had been sleeping for a long time. Something that his civilized life had made him forget. He was not just a scientist. He was human. And humans were predators too. The bear charged. Its huge body moved faster than anything that big should move. The ground shook with each step. Its claws dug deep holes in the dirt. Its mouth was open, showing teeth like white daggers. Lisa screamed. Ryan tried to crawl backward. But Jake did something nobody expected. He did not run. He did not freeze. He ran straight at the bear. Dr. Vexstar almost fell out of his chair. What is it doing? Is the human broken? Why is it running toward the predator? The bear was surprised. 2. Prey animals always ran away. They never ran toward danger. For just a moment, the huge animal slowed down. That moment was all Jake needed. Jake slid under the bear's massive paw as it swung down at him. The claws missed his head by inches. He could feel the wind from the bear's swing. He rolled to the side and came up next to the bear's front leg. Piece of metal in Jake's hand was sharp and strong. It was part of their boat's engine. Jake drove it deep into the bear's shoulder, right where the leg met the body. The bear roared in pain and anger. "Impossible," Dr. Vexstar said. His 4 hands were shaking as he worked his computers. The human hurt the apex predator. How did it know where to strike? Jake pulled the metal out and blood came with it. Red blood that was hot and thick. The bear spun around to face him, but Jake was already moving. He was not thinking like a scientist anymore. He was thinking like a fighter. The bear swung its other paw at Jake. This time Jake could not dodge completely. The claws caught his shirt and tore it open. 3 long cuts appeared on his chest. They were not deep, but they burned like fire. Jake felt the pain, but he did not stop. Pain was just information. It told him he was still alive, still fighting. Creelin was watching her screens with wide eyes. "Doctor, look at the human's body readings. Its heart rate is over 200 beats per minute. That should kill it. And its strength output," Zilmeth added. "It is 3 times higher than normal. How is this possible?" Dr. Vexstar did not answer. He was too busy watching something that should not exist. A soft, weak human was fighting an apex predator, and not losing. The bear tried to bite Jake's head off. Its jaws could crush a bowling ball. But Jake grabbed the bear's lower jaw with both hands and held it open. His arms shook with the effort. The bear's breath was hot and smelled like death. Lisa and Ryan watched in shock. This was not the Jake they knew. The Jake they knew was gentle and kind He studied fish and helped wounded seals. This Jake had cold eyes and moved like a machine built for killing. Jake let go of the bear's jaw and punched it in the nose, as hard as he could. The bear's head snapped back. Blood came from its nose. No animal had ever hit it like that. Before Dot, the bear was getting angry. Really angry. It stood up on its back legs again, trying to use its size to scare Jake. It was over 9 feet tall. Its shadow covered Jake completely. Jake looked up at the massive animal. A normal person would have been terrified. But Jake was not normal anymore. Something ancient had woken up inside him. Something that his ancestors had used to hunt mammoths and fight cave bears. When the bear came down with both front paws, Jake was ready. He stepped to the side and grabbed the bear's right arm. Before the bear could react, Jake twisted and threw the huge animal over his shoulder. The bear hit the ground hard. The whole island seemed to shake. Dirt and rocks flew everywhere. The bear had never been thrown before. It did not understand what had happened. Dr. Vextar was standing now, all 4 of his hands pressed against his screens. This is impossible. The human is smaller. It is weaker. It has no claws, no fangs. How is it winning? Jake did not give the bear time to think. He jumped on its back and wrapped his arms around its thick neck. The bear tried to roll over and crush him, but Jake held on tight. His muscles felt like steel cables. The bear got back on its feet and ran toward a tree, trying to smash Jake against it. But Jake saw it coming. He pushed off the bear's back at the last second and landed on his feet. The bear hit the tree face first. "Lisa, Ryan, get back!" Jake shouted. This was the first time he had spoken since the fight started. His voice sounded different, harder, colder. The bear turned around. Its face was bloody. Its eyes were full of rage. It had never been hurt this badly by anything. It wanted to kill Jake more than it had ever wanted anything. But Jake was not the same person who had been studying whales yesterday. That person was gone. In his place was something that the aliens did not understand. A human being with nothing left to lose. The bear charged again. This time Jake did not dodge. He met the bear head-on. They crashed together like 2 trains. The sound echoed across the whole island. Jake grabbed the bear's head with both hands. The bear tried to bite him, but Jake's thumbs were pressing into its eyes. The bear could not see. It shook its head wildly, trying to get Jake off, but Jake would not let go. His hands were covered in blood. His own blood and the bear's blood. He could not tell the difference anymore. He did not care. The bear was getting tired. It was breathing hard. It had never fought anything that would not give up. Every other animal ran away or died quickly. But this human would not stop fighting. Dr. Vextar was recording everything, but his hands were shaking. "How long has this fight been going on?" 7 minutes, Creelan said. "The human has been fighting for 7 minutes without stopping." "That is impossible. Small creatures cannot fight large ones for that long. They do not have the strength." But Jake was proving him wrong. Jake was not fighting with just strength. He was fighting with something else. Something that the advanced aliens had forgotten about long ago. He was fighting with the will to survive. The bear tried one more desperate attack. It reared up and came down with all its weight, trying to crush Jake under its massive body. But Jake caught the bear's paws in his hands and held them. For a moment, they were locked together, testing their strength against each other. Jake's muscles screamed with pain. His heart felt like it was going to explode, but he did not let go. He pushed back against the bear with everything he had. Slowly, impossibly, Jake began to win. The bear's arms started to bend backward. The huge predator's eyes went wide with something it had never felt before. Fear. On the alien ship, the observation deck was completely silent. Dr. Vextar's computers were working overtime, trying to understand what they were seeing. Every reading said this was impossible, but it was happening anyway. Jake was not just fighting the bear anymore. He was beating it. The apex predator of the island was losing to a creature it should have been able to kill with one swipe of its paw. The bear made one last sound. Not a roar this time. Something smaller. Something that sounded almost like crying. Then it fell backward and did not get up. The bear lay on its side, breathing hard. Its chest went up and down slowly. Blood ran from its nose and mouth. Its eyes were half closed. The great predator was beaten, but it was still alive. Jake stood over it, breathing just as hard. His shirt was torn and bloody. His hands were cut and swollen, but his eyes were still cold and focused. He looked down at the bear like a hunter looking at his prey. Lisa and Ryan had not moved during the whole fight. They stood frozen, watching their friend do something impossible. This was not the Jake they knew. This Jake was something else. Something that scared them. "Jake," Lisa said quietly. "Jake, are you okay?" Jake turned to look at her. For a moment, Lisa thought he did not recognize her. His eyes were empty and cold. Then something changed in his face. The coldness went away a little. "I am fine," Jake said, but his voice was different, harder. On the alien ship, Dr. Vextar was trying to understand what had happened. His computers showed that the human had won, but the numbers did not make sense. This is impossible. The human is too small, too weak. How did it defeat an apex predator? Creolin was looking at different readings. Doctor, the human's body. Chemistry changed during the fight. Its adrenaline levels were 10 times normal. Its pain receptors shut down. It became something else. Something else? Dr. Vextar asked. Something we have never seen before. A creature that becomes stronger when it is in danger. A creature that will not give up, no matter what. Jake walked over to the beaten bear. The huge animal tried to lift its head, but it was too tired. Jake knelt down next to it. Lisa thought he was going to help the bear, maybe try to heal its wounds. She was wrong. Jake picked up a sharp rock. He tested its edge with his thumb. It was sharp enough. He looked at the bear's neck, finding the right spot. The spot where the blood flowed closest to the surface. "Jake, what are you doing?" Ryan asked. Jake did not answer. He pressed the rock against the bear's neck. The bear's eyes opened wide. It knew what was coming. "Jake, no," Lisa screamed. "You do not have to kill it. It is beaten." Jake looked at her. "It will heal. It will come back. It will hunt us again. This is not over until it is dead." Lisa had never heard Jake talk like this. The old Jake would have tried to save the bear. The old Jake cared about all animals. This Jake cared only about survival. Dr. Vextar watched in horror as the human prepared to kill the defeated predator. "This is savage behavior. We evolved past this millions of years ago." "Maybe," said Zilnith quietly, "but we also became weak." "When was the last time any of our people fought for their lives?" Dr. Vextar did not answer. The truth was, his people had been safe for so long that they had forgotten how to fight. They had forgotten what it meant to be afraid. Jake cut the bear's throat with one quick motion. The great predator's eyes went blank. Its breathing stopped. The king of the island was dead, but Jake was not finished. He started cutting into the bear's body with the sharp rock. His movements were careful and precise. He knew exactly what he was doing. "What is he doing now?" Creolin asked. Dr. Vextar watched in disgust as Jake began to take the bear apart piece by piece. "He is harvesting it, taking the useful parts." Jake worked quickly and efficiently. He cut away the bear's thick fur and spread it out to dry. He removed the meat and set it aside. He took the bear's claws and teeth. He even saved the bones that looked strong enough to make tools. Lisa and Ryan watched in silence. They had never seen anything like this. Jake worked like he had done this many times before, like he was born to do it. Where did you learn to do that? Lisa asked. Jake looked up from his work. His hands were covered in blood up to his wrists. Survival training in the army. They taught us to use everything, waste nothing. But Jake, you have not been a soldier for 10 years. How do you still remember all this? Jake went back to his work. You never forget. You just hope you never have to use it. The sun was getting low in the sky. Jake had been working on the bear for hours. He had turned the great predator into tools, clothes, and food. Nothing was wasted. Dr. Vexstar had watched the whole thing. His assistant had to leave twice to be sick. Even his strongest crew members looked pale. This is barbaric, he said. We are watching a primitive creature return to its savage roots. But Zilmoth had a different idea. Doctor, what if they were never civilized? What if they just learned to hide what they really are? That thought scared Dr. Vexstar more than anything else. If humans were really predators pretending to be peaceful, what did that mean for the rest of the galaxy? Jake finished his work as the sun set. He had bear meat cooking over the fire. He had made a coat from the bear's fur. He had turned the bear's claws into knives. He had made tools from its bones. When he was done, he went to the stream and washed the blood off his hands. The water turned red around his feet. He scrubbed it until his hands were clean, but the smell of blood still clung to him. Lisa and Ryan sat by the fire, not talking. They watched Jake work, but they did not help. They were afraid to get too close. This was not their friend anymore. This was something else, wearing Jake's face. In the distance, they heard the sound of helicopters. The rescue team was coming. Their emergency beacon had finally been found. Jake heard the helicopters too. He stood up and looked toward the sound. They found us, he said. Jake, Lisa said carefully, what are you going to tell them? About the bear? Jake thought for a moment. I will tell them we were attacked by a bear. I will tell them I had to defend us. I will not tell them the rest. The rest? Jake looked at the pile of bear parts, the fur coat, the bone tools, the meat cooking over the fire. I will not tell them that I enjoyed it. The helicopters got closer. Soon they would land on the beach. Rescue workers would come. They would ask questions. They would want to know what happened. Jake walked away from the camp and found some clean clothes in the wreckage of their boat. He changed his shirt and washed his face. When he came back, he looked almost normal again. Almost like the old Jake. But Lisa and Ryan could still see it in his eyes. The coldness. The willingness to kill. It was still there, just hidden under the surface. The first helicopter landed on the beach. Men in Coast Guard uniforms ran toward them. Are you folks okay? One of them called out. Jake walked forward to meet them. He was calm and polite. He was the scientist again. We are fine, he said. But we had some trouble with the local wildlife. The Coast Guard officer looked around the camp. He saw the bear fur, the bones, the meat. Looks like you handled it pretty well, he said. We did what we had to do, Jake replied. High above, Dr. Vexstar watched the rescue. The humans were safe now. They would go back to their civilized world. They would pretend this never happened. But Dr. Vexstar would never forget. He had seen what humans really were when they had no choice. He had seen the predator that lived inside them, waiting for the right moment to come out, and that scared him more than any monster he had ever studied. The Coast Guard helicopter lifted off from the island with all 3 survivors inside. Jake sat quietly by the window, looking down at the place where he had killed the bear. He said nothing during the flight. Lisa and Ryan sat across from him, stealing glances when they thought he was not looking. The Coast Guard medic checked their injuries. Jake had cuts on his chest and hands, but nothing serious. "You are lucky," the medic said. "Bear attacks usually end much worse than this." "Yes," Jake said simply. "We were lucky." The medic looked at Jake's hands. They were clean now, but the knuckles were swollen and cut. "Looks like you fought back hard." Jake nodded. "I did what I had to do." High above the helicopter, the alien ship followed silently. Dr. Vextar watched the rescue through his cameras. "So they returned to their safe world," he said. "And they will pretend this never happened." Creelin was still analyzing the data from the fight. "Doctor, I have been studying the humans' performance. The strength increases, the speed, the endurance. These are not normal abilities." "What do you mean?" Dr. Vextar asked. "I mean, this might not be unusual for their species. What if all humans can do this? What if they all have this hidden potential?" Dr. Vextar felt a chill run through his blue skin. "That is impossible. We have observed humans for months. They are peaceful. They avoid conflict." "But doctor," Zilmuth said from his station, "what if they avoid conflict because they choose to, not because they are weak?" Dr. Vextar thought about this. It was a terrifying idea. If humans were really predators, who had simply chosen to be peaceful, what would happen if they ever decided to stop being peaceful? The helicopter landed at a Coast Guard station. Jake, Lisa, and Ryan were taken to a hospital for a full checkup. The doctors found that all three were in good health, considering their ordeal. "You handled that situation very well," the doctor told Jake. "Most people would not have survived an encounter with a Kodiak bear." Jake just nodded. He did not want to talk about what had happened. He wanted to forget it. But he knew he never would. Lisa and Ryan were questioned by officials who wanted to understand what had happened on the island. They told the story, but they left out many details. They did not talk about how Jake had changed during the fight. They did not mention the way he had taken the bear apart like a professional hunter. "The bear attacked us," Lisa said. "Jake fought it off. He saved our lives." That was true, but it was not the whole truth. The whole truth was too frightening to share. Dr. Vextar called a meeting of his entire crew. All the aliens gathered in the main observation room. "We need to discuss what we have seen," he said. The aliens talked for hours. Some thought the humans' behavior was an anomaly, a one-time event that would never happen again. Others, like Zilmuth, believed it was something more significant. "I have been studying human history," Zilmuth said. "They have a long record of violence, wars, conquests, hunting dangerous animals. What if their peaceful behavior is new? What if violence is their natural state?" Dr. Vextar did not like this idea. "But they seem so civilized now. They make art, they study science, they care for their sick and weak." "Yes," Zilmuth agreed. "But maybe that is what makes them truly dangerous. They are predators who have learned to cooperate. Predators who build machines and weapons. Predators who can think and plan." Creelin showed them her analysis of human military history. "Look at this data. In the last 100 years, humans have created weapons that could destroy their entire planet. They have built machines of war that could kill millions. And yet, they choose not to use them most of the time." "So what are you saying?" Dr. Vextar asked. "I am saying that humans are not weak because they avoid war. They avoid war because they know how good they are at it." Back on Earth, Jake returned to his normal life. He went back to his job studying marine animals. He wrote reports about whale migration patterns. He attended scientific conferences. To everyone around him, He was the same gentle scientist he had always been. But Lisa and Ryan knew better. They worked with Jake every day, and they could see the change in him. He was more careful now, more aware of his surroundings. When they went on research trips, he always carried extra supplies. He always had backup plans. "Jake, are you okay?" Lisa asked him one day while they were working on their boat. Jake looked up from the equipment he was checking. "I am fine." "Why do you ask? You have been different since the island. More prepared for trouble." Jake went back to his work. "Being prepared is not a bad thing, Lisa." "No, but you carry a knife now." "You never used to carry a knife." Jake stopped working. He looked at the knife on his belt. It was made from a piece of metal, sharpened to a razor edge. He had made it himself, using skills he had learned on the island. "The world is dangerous, Lisa. It is good to be ready." Lisa nodded, but she was not convinced. She could see that Jake was still carrying something from the island, something dark and violent that he kept hidden inside. Months passed. Dr. Vextar continued to study humans from his ship, but now he studied them differently. He was not looking for signs of weakness anymore. He was looking for signs of hidden strength. He found them everywhere. Human athletes who could push their bodies beyond normal limits. Human soldiers who could fight for days without rest. Human parents who could lift cars off their children when they were in danger. "They all have it," Dr. Vextar told his crew. "The same potential we saw in Jake. They are all predators hiding as prey." The alien crew began to feel afraid. They had thought Earth was a safe place to study, a planet full of weak creatures who could not threaten anyone. Now they realized they were wrong. "What should we do?" Creolin asked. Dr. Vextar thought carefully. "We leave. We go back to the Galactic Council and make our report. But first, we classify all our data about humans." "Classify it? Why?" "Because if other species know what humans really are, they might decide to attack Earth, to destroy the humans before they become a threat." "But Doctor," Zilmuth said, "maybe they already are a threat. Maybe we should warn the galaxy." Dr. Vextar shook his head. "No, the humans have chosen to be peaceful. As long as they make that choice, we should respect it. But if anyone ever forces them to stop being peaceful... He did not finish the sentence. He did not need to. They all understood. The alien ship left Earth's solar system quietly. Dr. Vextar filed his report with the Galactic Council. It was a simple report that said humans were a primitive species not worth studying further. He did not mention Jake Murphy. He did not mention the bear. He did not mention what he had learned about human nature. Instead, he created a second report, a classified report that only the highest levels of government would ever see. This report told the truth about humans. It explained what they were capable of when they had no choice but to fight. The classified report ended with a single recommendation. Under no circumstances should any galactic species attempt to invade, attack, or threaten the human homeworld. Humans appear peaceful by choice, not by nature. They should be left alone indefinitely. Dr. Vextar sent this report to only 3 people in the entire galaxy. People who had the power to make sure that no one would ever be stupid enough to start a war with Earth. Years passed. Jake continued his peaceful life as a scientist. He studied whales and dolphins. He published papers about ocean conservation. He taught young students about marine biology. But sometimes, late at night, he would dream about the island. He would dream about the bear, and in his dreams, he was not afraid. In his dreams, he felt more alive than he ever felt in his normal life. Jake kept these dreams to himself. He never told anyone how good it had felt to win that fight, how right it had felt to be the predator instead of the prey, because Jake understood something that the aliens were just beginning to learn. Humans were not violent because they were evil. They were violent because they were good at it. And being good at something dangerous meant you had to be very careful about when you used that skill. The galaxy continued to spin peacefully. Alien civilizations traded and talked and explored the stars. They found many species. Some were smart, some were strong, some were fast, but they stayed away from the small blue planet in the quiet corner of the galaxy. The planet where the peaceful scientists lived. The planet where Jake Murphy studied fish and helped wounded seals and never hurt anyone, unless he had to. And that was exactly the way both species wanted it to stay.